Namaste to all students who are present here. Myself Sakshi Pandey, Faculty of Agriculture and Veterinary Science, and in this session we'll basically talk about copper. So as in previous session, we have a lot of discuss about the minerals, your micro minerals, trace elements, and in last session I'll give you a brief of iron also. Okay. So like iron, copper is also one of your trace elements. Okay, trace minerals you can say. So copper, when we talk about copper, so copper is what? Your mineral. Okay, it is a very essential trace mineral and it is vital for many living or healthy organisms. Okay, it is very vital for the living processes. Okay, so in human, when we talk about copper is very essential for proper functioning of organ and metabolic process. Okay, metabolic process and also functioning of organs. So both of these functions require what? Copper. And human body has a complex homeostasis mechanism which attempts to ensure the constant supply of available copper. Okay, so what here, like when we talk about the homeostatic mechanism, so what is homeostatic mechanism? When your body is able to maintain the constant temperature. Okay, so this process, okay, so these all processes require copper for their normal function. Okay, so homeostasis mechanism, what is homeostasis? First, homeostasis is a process through which a living organism maintain their desirable temperature, or you can say desirable like body temperature. When we talk about, so homeostasis is a constant mechanism that is running in your body. Okay, so this mechanism requires available, this mechanism really constantly supply the available copper. Okay, so copper is very essential for this mechanism. So adult human, when we talk about the amount of copper that is present in our body, so adult human contain up to 100 to 150 mg of copper. Okay, so when we talk about storage, so 100 to 150 mg of copper is stored in your body, through which a 65 mg is present in your muscle, 23 mg in your bones, and 18 mg in your liver. Okay, and it occurs as a form of cryocrypin, okay, erythrocypin, hepatocrypin, and cerebrocrypin. So what these terms basically means, erythrocypin means crypin is a active form of copper. Erythro means RBCs, red blood cells. So when the copper is present in your RBCs, then it is known as erythrocypin. Likewise, when we talk about hepatocrypin, so hepato is what? It is your liver. Okay. So when the copper is containing in your liver cell, it is known as hepatocrypin. Then the third is your cerebrocrypin. Cerebro is what? It is your brain. Okay, your nervous system, your cerebral system. So when the copper is present in your cerebral part, then it is known as cerebrocrypin. Okay, now the sources of copper, when we talk about how we can obtain copper in our diet. So average diet provides your 2 to 4 mg per day in a form of meat, shellfish, legumes, nut, and cereals. Okay, milk and milk products are a very poor source of copper. And the good sources, you can say the liver, oyster, your seafood, okay, green leafy vegetable, and chocolate, cocoa. Okay, these all are the very good sources of your copper. Now the function of copper, so as you all know, like iron, this is also a trace element, essential trace element. So it required is also required for some of the very essential functions also in your body. So copper is required for the synthesis of hemoglobin, and although it is not a component of hemoglobin. Okay, so copper, as we have discussed earlier also, that iron is required for hemoglobin. Okay, because iron is a part of hemoglobin. But what happened? Copper do the function. It do the function in a synthesis of hemoglobin. It is a a process. Okay, it is a very like ongoing process. That process is known as erythropoiesis. So that process required a variety of nutrients. Copper is also one of them. But copper is not related to the not related to hemoglobin. It is not a part of a hemoglobin, not the component of hemoglobin, but it required for the synthesis of hemoglobin. Okay, and it also works with iron. Okay, copper works together with iron to form RBCs. Okay, so iron is always there for hemoglobin synthesis, but with iron, copper is also required. Okay, and the second point is that it keeps a nerve cell and immune system healthy. Okay, what's that mean? Nerve cell is what? Nerve cell is basically present in your nervous system. Okay, your cerebral part. So nerve cells And so the healthiness of the functioning of nerve cells required copper. Likewise, immune system is also required copper for the normal functioning. And when we talk about other than the function, okay, so and the next function of copper is that it helps in your formation of collagen also. So collagen is what is the key part of your bone and connective tissue. So collagen is basically helps to make your bone and also your connective tissue. So collagen is a very important component of your muscles and tissue. And the next point is that copper is act as antioxidant. So as you all know, like today's environment require a lot of amount of antioxidant in your diet so that the cells and muscle tissues cannot be harmed and it can be recovered if it's harmed. Okay, so antioxidant, what they do, antioxidant basically reduce the amount of oxidation. It means it's completely alter the amount of oxidation so that your body and cells which are oxidized or which are tend to oxidize can be correctly recovered. Okay, so antioxidant basically they get free radicals, and free radicals what they do, they produce cancer causing cells in your body. So antioxidant is basically required to remove those free radical, to bind those free radical and destroy them so that your body can be healthy. Okay, and copper is helps to absorb iron. Okay, so this is a very important function, like copper is helps for absorption of iron. Okay, so without copper the absorption cannot take place properly. So it is dependent upon copper, iron is dependent upon copper for its absorption. Okay, it also helps in enzyme action. Okay, there are various kinds of enzymes which is used in its action. Okay, then the next is maturation of elastin. So elastin is also a type of your connective tissue, like a protein. Okay, it is a type of protein, so its maturation is also required iron, sorry, copper. Okay, and then the formation of bones and maintenance of myelin sheaths. Okay, formation of bones, you know, like calcium and phosphorus, copper is also useful for the formation of bones and teeth. And the last point is it is for the useful for the maintenance of myelin sheath. So myelin sheath is what? It is present in your nerve tissue and it is present in your cerebroside, okay, in your nervous tissue. So for the maintenance of that myelin sheath, copper is very essential. Okay, so now we will talk about the absorption and metabolism of copper. So when we talk about the absorption of copper, primarily absorbed from the duodenum. Okay, about 32% of right copper can be absorbed. Okay, so duodenum is a part where the primarily absorption is done. Phytate, zinc, molybdenum, cadmium, okay, all required higher amount of vitamin C. Vitamin C generally what? It inhibit the copper absorption. Okay, requires special mechanism. And plasma, in plasma after absorption, the copper enters into plasma where it is bind to amino acid, particularly histidine and serum albumin. Okay, so all this work together in your plasma. So this is how the absorption is done. Now the excretion, when we talk about the excretion part, so in normal condition, 85 to 99% of ingested copper is excreted in feces and via bile, and remaining 1 to 15% in your urine. Okay, so this is what the excretion rate of your copper. So normal condition, what happened in normal condition? 85 to 99% ingested copper is excreted in your feces or via the bile, and remaining it's in your urine. Okay. So it means every copper is excreted out. Now the RDA, so RDA is what? It is the recommended dietary allowances. So how much amount of copper is to be required according to your age group. So when we talk about a 6 months old year baby, so it required up to 200 microgram daily. Okay, so when we talk about the infant up to 12 months old, it required 220 microgram per day. For children 1 to 3 years, it requires 340 microgram per day, and for children 4 to 8 years, requires 440 microgram per day. Okay, children 9 to 13 years requires 700 microgram per day. Okay, and children from like teenager or you can say adolescents require 890 mg gram per day. Okay, so this is what your recommended dietary allowances. Okay. Or when we talk about a pregnant lady, so pregnant lady, it is increases up to 100 gram per day, and in breastfeeding woman, it is also increases up to 1300 gram per day. Okay. Now, if you take copper supplement, you should take zinc supplement also, because zinc and copper, like these two minerals, can the imbalance between these two minerals can cause your health problem. So this should be balanced, like the amount of copper that you are taking, the zinc supplement is also be there. Okay, so for the pregnant lady, especially the supplement which we provide for the pregnant lady has copper, zinc, okay, iron, all in a balanced form. Now, when the copper deficiency may occur, a clinical manifestation sign is of lose weight. Okay, a person more likely to be lose weight, so it became very thin. Bone disorder is seen, anemia is there, gray hair. Okay, myocardial entropy means the heart beating is very improper. Demyelination of sheath. Okay, so demyelination of sheath is basically what, when the your like nervous system is not able to perform properly. Okay. Now the sources of copper. So when we talk about the top richest sources of copper is your beef liver, sunflower seeds, lentils, almonds, dry apricots, dark chocolate, molasses, asparagus, mushroom, and turnip green. Okay, so these are the very good sources of your copper. So, and other than this, when we talk about a total body content of copper, so total body contain your 100 microgram copper, okay, and dietary requirement can be varies to 1.5 to 3 microgram per day, okay. Occurrence, when we check the copper, like where copper can be found, so it can occur in your muscle, your bone, your brain, your heart, kidney, hair, okay. So these all are very good like occurrence, or you can say the storage of copper. Now there are some copper containing enzymes. Okay, so these enzymes require copper for their presence. Okay, so what are these? They are cerebroplasmic, tyrosine, cytochrome oxidase, and LAL synthase, superoxide dismutase, and phenol oxidase. Okay, so these all are required copper. So when we talk about cerebrocuprin, so it is in brain. Hepatocuprin, it's in liver. Hemocuprin is RBC. Erythrocyprin in your bone marrow, and hemocyanin in your oxygen carry blue pigment. Okay. So this is how the copper is mostly transmitted in your body. Okay, so it also, like when we talk about in your role in body, what they do, they works as iron absorption. They works in incorporation of iron in hemoglobin. They also work as a cofactor hydrogenation of your vitamin C. It protects heart from increased LDL, that is your low density lipoprotein. And copper is very necessary for the synthesis of your what? The synthesis of hemoglobin from your iron. It also helps with iron. It like work equally with iron, okay, for the synthesis of your heme. So this is all with your copper part. And like when we talk about in competitive exams, like what did ask, they ask many variety of questions of copper, where they can be found, or like it helps in what are the function of copper, okay, and the sources, dark sources, other sources when we talk about. So these all questions that can be raised in your exam. So thank you all for the session, and you can also consult for the book, that is Bishi Lakshmi and Kumar Khanna. It have a lot of specific topic about related to this topic. Okay, thank you.